Okay, so let's get into this. It's the story of a man who pretty much appeared out of nowhere and started making this strange kind of sense. It's about how some ideas don't spread like a wildfire, but more like a quiet, undeniable truth that just gets passed from one person to the next. And yeah, it all kicks off with one single video. And this is it. This is how it started. 73 seconds, one continuous shot. No music, no crazy graphics, just a calm voice laying out a fact that's so specific, so shocking, you can't really argue with it. It felt less like a rant and more like, well, like a diagnosis. By the very next morning, this was the view count. Now, look, 4.1 million views overnight isn't totally unheard of, but the way this video got there, that was different. This was not your standard viral hit. Check this out. You see, instead of that huge, sudden explosion you get with most viral stuff, this video's audience just grew steadily. It spread from one person's text messages to another, from one work chat to the next. It was a slow burn, which tells you people were actually stopping and thinking about it before they passed it along. And you can see it right here in the early comments. There was this feeling, this kind of electric buzz, a mix of disbelief and the sense that something everybody knew but nobody ever said was finally being spoken out loud. It felt like stumbling on someone breaking a rule you didn't even know existed. Now, this is what's really fascinating, this tiny number. Right in the middle of explaining the complex law behind insulin prices, the speaker just pauses for less than a full second. But in that tiny little bit of silence, something pretty incredible happened. That's exactly how people felt it. That little pause made them feel seen. It wasn't for dramatic effect. It was like he was giving them a second to process it, to feel that flash of anger before he kept going. It wasn't a performance, it was a connection, and it was forged in less than a second. His second video was even weirder. No, hey guys, thanks for the views, no recap of his viral hit. He just picked right back up where he left off, like he trusted his audience was already on the same page and ready for the nitty-gritty. He just read the law, all 526 words of it, deadpan. And this comment just nails the effect, right? His audience felt respected. They weren't being hyped up for clicks. They were being treated like they were part of an investigation. He wasn't telling them what to feel. He was just showing them the evidence. So from there, he takes that same clinical, fact-based approach and applies it to an issue that hits every single one of us right where we live, the price of a home. And this is where he just flips the whole script. He basically says, forget cheap versus expensive. That's not the real issue. The big difference is that older generations had something way more fundamental: available housing. The problem wasn't just the price tag. It was that the supply itself was being choked off. And this is the crucial part. He didn't just point out the problem. He laid out a mechanism to fix it. Not some vague promise, but a clear, four-step plan. You tie federal funding for transit to cities getting rid of their exclusionary zoning laws. Simple. Cause and effect. Okay, this number, this might be the most shocking one of all. It's the estimated number of homeowners who shared that video. People whose own property values would almost certainly go down under his plan. He said it out loud, and they shared it anyway. Why? Because the logic was just undeniable. And this reaction from a homeowner named Catherine just captures that conflict perfectly. She and her husband Peter, they watched it, they got the logic, and they knew it would probably cost them money. But they couldn't find a single hole in the argument. They just knew he was right. So from these huge complex systems like housing, he then zooms all the way in to something we've all stared at in complete confusion: a single, ordinary propane bill. I mean, just look at this breakdown. He showed how the bill wasn't just a charge for propane. No, it was a charge, plus a tax on that charge, plus a fee, plus a tax on that fee, plus a surcharge, plus a tax on the surcharge. He just laid out the math. The system was literally charging itself. And boom, that one example became a mirror. People like Marcus Alvarez looked at that and immediately saw their own lives, their cable bills, their phone bills. Every single time they'd gotten a bill where the final price felt totally disconnected from what they actually bought. But as these incredibly clear, resonant ideas started to spread, a journalist named Sarah Okafor began asking the one question that was kind of hiding in plain sight: who is Caden Merritt? Sarah's approach to investigating this was just brilliant. She basically ignored the videos themselves, because that stuff is easy to fake.
She went looking for the context. She started looking for all the things that should be there, the digital breadcrumbs that every single one of us leaves behind.
And what did she find? Absolutely nothing. A void. Every trail went cold. A college degree, but no thesis advisor remembered him. A supposed consulting group with no clients, no record. No old forum posts, no tagged photos, no digital history at all before he just appeared. And this is where Sarah has this huge insight. Think about it. People arrive at clarity. We have old, cringy, less certain versions of ourselves out there. We evolve. Caden, though, he had no rough drafts. He just emerged, fully formed in this state of absolute certainty. And that's when things start to get really strange. Sarah realized the lack of a past wasn't a gap in her research. It was the research. That absence itself began to feel like a physical property of the man, like his height or his eye color. Which leaves us with this massive, blinking question mark, right? Ideas have to start somewhere. People have to come from somewhere. So if Caden Merritt didn't come from anywhere we can find, then what exactly is he? And we'll dig into that next time.